So in our previous video, we were discussing variability and we looked at range and interquartile range. In this video, we're going to look at standard deviation and variance. So when it comes to standard deviation and variance, we are using it with the mean, and you are using it with data that's either Likert scale, so it's preference type questions, strongly agree, strongly disagree, or it's interval or ratio data, counts and measurements. All right, so let's look at how to do that in Python. So we'll just switch over to our Python workbook, and we're here at standard deviation. Again, drstephpowers.github.io/BIA. Descriptive stats is where we got our workbook, and we are using our bargain clean and bargain numeric data sets, and so refer to our previous videos for how to load those in. All right, if you want to find the standard deviation, you'll notice a pattern to all of these codes. DF2 is the table that was coded, right? So this is the one that looks like, so I scroll back quickly up here, way up here somewhere. DF2. All right, so bargain numeric was the data set, and it's the one that's already coded, so it's all numbers. And so then we can use the command, just like we had min and max and median and mean, we can do standard deviation. So the code for standard deviation is s.t and parentheses. If you do that and you have a coded data set, so it's all numbers, it'll do it for all the different variables. If you want to do it for a particular variable, remember it's df2 is the name of your table, then it is the name of your variable. So for example, question 24, and then it is .std and parentheses. So we do that, and we can see we get that same 8.4. Now, standard deviation is only useful, right, for interval and ratio or Likert scale. So notice it did the standard deviation for things like question 2, which were part-time, full-time. We're doing it for everything in the data set just to make life quick. But you have to then know that the standard deviation isn't relevant for question 2 because it's 2 categories, right? Part-time, full-time, standard deviation means nothing. So then if we do this for everything, we need to recognize that it's relevant here for questions 10 through 15, where we had our Likert scale, strongly agree, strongly disagree. It's relevant here for question 24, how many years have you been here? Question 17, which is the amount of overtime. But then when it comes to questions like which location do you work at, question 23, that number means nothing. And so you can get Python to output it, but in actually using it, you are the expert to make sure that it's being used at the right time. So you won't find it in the Python workbook already, but standard deviation and variance are related. So if you want to find variance, then the command here is going to be, so let's do question 24. Instead of .std parentheses, it's .var. So variance is just the squared of the standard deviation, and so you'll notice here, if we square 8.44, we get 71.2. You can do the variance for everything. So just like this code here is df2.std, we can do the same type of code and find the variance. Now, I don't spend a whole lot of time on variance here simply because variance is used in mathematical calculations. So there are some formulas that use variance, but in terms of understanding the data, we usually focus on standard deviation because we want to know essentially on average, how far are we away from the average? That makes a bit more sense to us than the variance itself. And so really variance is only calculated so it can go into other mathematical formulas rather than being able to pull meaning from the variance here. But if you want to pull the variance from the data, it's VAR. And then, of course, the standard deviation is STD.